Welcome to Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. And Sean, again, is not here today because he's working, making money to pay his bills. We have Jordan here, and we actually have Jordan here for another job, which was the upper control arm bushing replacement. But we're also replacing his rear control arm bushings. Now, we already have a video for replacing the lower rear control arm bushings that we replaced for our friend Mark, who hails from Napa. We're doing one step further. We're doing the rear upper control arm bushings on Jordan's rig. The main difference with replacing the bushings on the upper ones is the upper bushings are a little bit different in construction. There's no steel sleeve with the bushing. It's just a rubber bushing with the metal sleeve in between, and that rubber bushing is pressed into the control arm. The pressing procedure is a little bit different, so we're not going to walk you through all the steps that you would do to get the control arms off, because it's basically the same as that other video. If you click on the link above, you'll see how to do it with the rear control arm bushing video we made. An interesting thing that we found when working on Jordan's truck today is that the direction that we had to pull his rear end to take pressure off the bolts for the control arm was opposite on Mark's truck. On Mark's truck, on the driver's side, we had to pull the rear end backwards in order to take pressure off the bolts to remove them easier. On Jordan's truck, what's weird is that we found that we had to pull the rear end forward. We're working on my driveway and it's at a slant, and maybe the forces are a little bit different. I don't know. The main thing is that you have to get underneath the rig and start pulling the rear end one way if it's not working, and you can see that the bolt that's loading up in the opposite direction. Then switch your ratchet straps around and start pulling the rear end from another direction, and you'll figure it out. It's just a little bit of trial and error. So those of you that know our channel, you know our videos are usually long, but we're only going to show the difference between pressing out the actual bushing from these control arms. We're not going to show the removal, and we're not going to show putting the arm back in. We're just going to show how you would do the press work. This is one of the rear upper control arms. I got it sandwiched in my vise right now. This is just a big rubber bushing with a metal sleeve in the middle. The bushing has a flange on it that goes almost to the full outer diameter of the arm. So in order to press this bushing out easier and to where we can get a press sleeve supporting the arm while we're doing the press work, we're going to cut a section of the outer diameter of this rubber bushing off to where we can get a press sleeve supporting the arm while we drive the bushing out the opposite direction. Jordan's going to take a utility blade and just cut a section of this rubber off the bushing.
So like Tim noted, if you look close here, there's the outer shell of the arm, and then this rubber bushing is just pressed right into it, and the sleeve is inside of the rubber bushing. So there's no outer shell of the bushing to push on. We just have to push right on the rubber, force it right out of the arm.
So to get it set up on the press, we have one of the plates that the press kit comes with, and I'll put a link in the video description of the press sleeve kit that I have. You can buy it on eBay. This press sleeve captures the diameter of the control arm, but the inner diameter is big enough for the rubber bushing to fall through it. Jordan's going to place the side that he cut the edge of the bushing off downward. We're using a 27mm short impact socket to use as our driving piece to drive the rubber bushing through the control arm and down into the press sleeve.
Yeah, there's the bushing. Just have to...
Yeah, see, that's...
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think we should cut off the other side.
Okay.
Let's do another one. The first bushings we pressed out of the driver's side upper rear control arm, we only cut one side of the rubber off the bushing and then pressed it through. But what we found by not cutting the other side off, the socket got kind of hung up inside the control arm. We're going to cut both sides off so the socket doesn't get stuck in the arm. Jordan's using a different technique now. He's cutting the whole end off. Is it easier or not easier?
I don't know. It's kind of a lot of stuff to cut. There you go. Not too bad.
So that's a different way to do it. The first time we did it, we just cut an outer section around the circumference. Jordan went ahead and took like a whole big pie piece off of the whole thing. So however you want to do it, you just want to get it cleared off of the control arm so when you're pushing the bushing through, the rubber doesn't hang up with the socket you're using to go through the control arm.
Squeaking the whole way.
It's out?
Yeah. Whoop. Hello. There it is.
There it is. There's the rubber bushing. It's very similar to replacing the steering rack bushings. It's just a rubber bushing that sits in the inner diameter of the control arm. So you just got to use something to force it out. Jordan chose Whiteline polyurethane bushings as his replacement bushings for the rear upper control arms. And here's the part number. It's W63379. And Jordan's going to show us the proper way to put polyurethane bushings into a control arm.
The main sleeve here is just clean, no lubricant. And we pop the bushings on both sides. And then we take the factory supplied grease and lubricate the ID.
Lubricate the inner diameter. This is one mistake that I've done with doing polyurethane bushings. I just learned this, that you don't really want to lubricate the bushing in between the control arm and the poly bushing. You just want to lubricate the inner diameter where the metal sleeve is going. So I don't know if that's super critical, not going to do any damage to the bushing, but basically you don't want the bushing to be able to pivot in the arm. You want the pivoting to happen with the metal sleeve. So I learned that recently. He's just sliding in the metal sleeve now.
Put a little bit of grease on these faces because it rotates in the bracket.
If you don't lubricate the faces of these bushing when it's sandwiched in the control arm, it could cause you a lot of squeaking. As promised, this was going to be a short and sweet video of just showing you how to do the press work for the rear upper control arm bushings. It's fairly straightforward, and even if you don't have a hydraulic press, I'm sure you can figure out another way to do this with maybe a ball joint press or some other thing you MacGyver. Like I've mentioned before, with press work, your imagination is your only limiting factors. People come up with some pretty ingenious ways to get the same job done utilizing homemade tools or whatever they have on hand. With the completion of this video, we now have videos showing you pretty much how to replace all the bushings on your third generation Toyota 4Runner. We have a video for the front sway bar bushings and end links. We have a video for the steering rack bushings. We have a video for the front lower control arm bushing replacement. We have a video for the front upper control arm bushing replacement. We have a video for the rear lower control arm bushing replacement. And now we have this video for the rear upper control arm bushing replacement. The only one that we haven't shown a video of is the rear sway bar bushings and end link replacement. That's a pretty easy job. It's not unlike the front sway bar, but knowing us, we'll probably do a video of that too at some point in the near future. So if you're new to our channel, look through the videos and you'll find all those videos I just mentioned. You'll know how to replace pretty much all the bushings on your 4Runner if that's what you'd like to do. We thank you for watching Toyota Time with Timmy the Toolman and Sean. We will be back with more videos. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you have any questions or comments, do that below. Take care. Bye-bye.